My name is Yuri from Mouse, and we are back with the last track guide of the season this time. So one last push of the VRS GT Sprint Series. We're at the Nurburgring GP track. We got a nice long chicane, the WC chicane. It's nice and cold temperatures, meaning we can lean on the tires a bit more. We can push quite hard in the races. So let's see how this looks like and do one last push in the season. And here we are starting the lap. As usual, just running race fuel. And what I think is luckily we don't go tight left here. We go the WC chicane. It's a lot faster. Keeps the flow on the track a lot nicer, I think. We're running the BMW. BMW works nice here because we have a bit of elevation. That means the turbo of the car works well. Turn 1 we want to use the 100 marker. Brake in a straight line. To try to keep the speed up with low pedal inputs. And the same for turn 3. Try to keep it tight to set up for a good exit from here. And use a bit of the runoff on the left side there. Down 1 gear here. And try to enter the hairpin from the middle. Hairpin here, we want to enter all the way from the left, brake in a straight line. Going a bit deep in the middle is fine to set up for a good exit. Schumacher S, you want to get a nice line onto the curb here, and if you take the right line, it should be flat. Bring your car all the way to the right, but not too far into the green there, because that will be an off track. To use the inside curb there, get the car rotated, small tap on the brake. Speed up. With the last chicane, we're going to be looking at the 50. To just tap the brake. All the way to the right side here. And use the curb on the left side a bit here. Smooth on the throttle of the last corner. And that's a lap around the Nurburgring GP track. Right, so here we are starting the lap, just looking from the outside cam. Take a closer look at the lines here. And for turn 1, we want to brake at the 100 here, but we got a slight bend in the track. So what we want to do, of course, in our braking, we want to brake in a straight line. Then we have the best braking performance. But because we have the bend in the track here, if we go in a straight line towards this 100 marker, we're going to be braking straight towards the 50, and then we're going to go towards the 50 and not anywhere towards the apex. So what we want to do is bring the car all the way to the left here. Then while we're still on throttle, we're going to do the turn. And then when we get to the 100 here, our car's already pointing a bit towards the apex instead of coming from the inside and braking in a straight line. What that does is it allows us to just brake as much in a straight line here as we can without going off the track or having to turn while we brake coming from the inside. So you want to do a lot of the turning just before you start braking in this bend here. And then we brake around this point here at the end of the entry road. Between the 100 and this point you can brake depending on what line you take in the corner. Of course we want to keep it to the left side. There's a lot of elevation change on the inside here, meaning that you want to have the car rotated mostly once you get to the apex here. You don't want to just straight line brake towards this point. Keep it tight, and then here you want to be really easy on the throttle, easy to lose the rear. You want to open up turn 2 as much as you can, meaning you want to be at least in the middle of the road here. If you're entering turn 2 from too far to the left there, you've sacrificed or not sacrificed turn 1 exit enough to get a good entry for turn 2. And small tap on the brake here, and what you want to do is keep your pedal inputs to the low. You want to keep a similar speed throughout the corner. It keeps the balance of the car the same and allows you to take the most speed throughout the corner. So slowly going back into the power as well. Run all the way to the right side here till you get the off track. The off track should be the middle of the car on this curb here. And then again, because we can't straight line brake here, we need to be very careful on the brake. So only a tiny bit of brake and carry that quite a long way into the corner. If you brake too hard, because we want to turn, the car is just going to want to go straight. Get to the inside here. Once you're in the corner, because again, it's a really long corner, just like turn 2, you want to have minimal inputs on the pedals, meaning a bit of brake or slowly going up from 50% throttle. Again, you want to sacrifice the exit a bit of turn 3 to open up turn 4, because we got a quite big straight coming up afterwards. So you want to be at least in the middle of the track here, opening up turn 4, maybe even a bit more. And then as early on the throttle as you can here for turn 4, you want to take the inside curb a bit so that the left side tires are still on the track. That way you avoid the off track. And on the exit here, we can use the other layout where they skip the first section a bit as exit of turn 4. We have to go back quite early here, but going onto this, you can run a bit wide. So you can run all the way next to the white lines of this track without getting it off track. And we get a fast corner here. We want to brake right after you get this layout going to the right side. Again, you don't want to brake too much here. If you brake too hard, you're going to overload one of the tires, and we want to have the right balance in the car. So we want to brake tiny bit. Don't take too much speed out of the car. And again, low inputs while we have these long flowing corners of the Nurburgring GP track. So in the corner here, you don't want to have too many inputs. If you have too many inputs, one side of the car is going to lose too much grip, and it's going to prevent you from taking all the speed through the corner that you can. An exit here, you want to bring it as far to the left side as you can. And if your car understeers in this big left-hander here, you're going to exit too far to the right side, and it's going to really hurt your speed in the next hairpin. So you want to not run all the way to the right side here. And again, try to enter at least from the middle of the track to the next corner. That's a good rule of thumb for a lot of these corner combinations here. That for the next corner, you want to at least be in the middle of the track entering the next corner. And this one, you just slowly build up the throttle, and you can run all the way to the edge of the gravel here on the exit. Now we got a big downhill, and we get one corner making two different lines. Again, just like in turn 1, we want to straight line the braking, and there's not really a straight line into the corner. That means we want to bring the car from about the middle of the track here. We turn a bit on the throttle, and then I place my car right around here. I'll show you from the cockpit cam as well. There's a small tire mark here. I try to place my car in a straight line on this tire mark on the left side, so on this runoff, so that I can brake in a straight line from here to here. That's kind of what I'm trying to aim for. Because again, the track doesn't go quite straight, and if you brake in a straight line to here, we have to do too much of the turn still. If you brake straight line towards the apex already, we're gonna have to do too much of the turn in the middle of the corner. So I try to aim from here to here in a straight line, and we set that up by not following the white line exactly on the left side here, coming a bit from the middle of the track, turning while we're still on throttle, and when we hit the brake, we want to have our steering as straight as we can for as long as we can. That way we can just brake the latest as possible, have the best braking performance. So we brake in a straight line here as much as we can, and then slowly start trail braking while we get to this point here. Go to the outside cam again. And then we got two ways you can take the corner. The way I like to do is enter a bit hot and have a bit of a double apex. That means we apex a bit here, then run a bit wider in the middle of the corner, and then go back to the apex again for a good exit. What you can also do is go in a bit slower and then miss this apex and then go from about here and just follow the inside curb. That way you have a bit more apex speed, but you sacrifice a bit of entry and exit speed. And that depends a bit on your setup, what your setup likes and what your driving style likes, but both lines are viable here. So my line is we try to apex a bit here, then run a bit deeper in the middle of the corner, and then slowly get towards the curb here again on the exit. That way we can set up for a good exit and straight line the car for the exit. Look at the Schumacher S, and if you take the Schumacher S right, it's just about flat, at least on the new tires it is. The way you want to do that is you want to place both right side tires on top of this curb, and then start turning in from about the middle of the curb here. There's not really a good reference on this curb, but you want to start turning in. So if you look from the cockpit cam, place your right side tires on this and then slowly start turning in so that you just about clip the inside curb here. And as you do that, you're gonna be close to the gravel here. If you just about touch the gravel, it's fine. If you touch that gravel too much, it's gonna be an instant slowdown. So you want to be really careful and maybe even take a bit extra speed off here in the corners to have a bit of margin, because it's a really big punishment if you hit that gravel too much. But again, if you hit the right line here and just about clip the inside curb, you can do it flat. The next chicane here, you want to run as far to the right side here as you can without getting the off track. And the off track is very deceptively tight here. So you would think that maybe the middle of the car on the middle of this line is an off track, but you have to give it more margin. So I just about placed my right side tires on this green runoff here on the right. Try to brake, and I try to aim that my left side tires go all the way over the inside curb here. So bring it all the way to the left side here. This right hander here, we want to keep the speed up, meaning bring it all the way to the left side here and only a small tap on the brake. And try to do a small tap on the brake just before you do the big turn in for the corner. That way the weight is nicely on the front end of the car when you want it to be. So small tap on the brake here. And then again, low pedal inputs in the middle of the corner because we get a long flowing corner. We want to keep the balance of the car the same as we went into the corner. Run all the way to the gravel on the exit, obviously. And we got the last chicane. And again, luckily we're running the WEC chicane here. We want to run it all the way on the right side here. There's a bit of extra, I think there's drainage that we can use. And my reference point is I tap the brake, so you don't really completely go hard on the brake, but you start tapping the brake from 50, go down 2 gears from fifth to third, and slowly start bringing the car into the inside. So we go from here. Again, you go to quite high brake, but you go off it quite early to start immediately setting up for the next corner. And then what I use is these markers here. On the edge of those, you want your inside tire to be. So third gear here. Same here to the inside. You can use this curb on the exit here. It can be a bit tricky if you want to brake on this exit curb here, getting off of it with lockups. So be careful when you go off this curb, if you're using it, to not be on the brakes too much. So we brake mostly on the curb, and when we're going off it, we try to reduce the brake to avoid the lockups. Then slowly down to second gear here and try to late apex. So get to the inside curb just after this pit entry. That way you set up for a good exit out of the corner for the main straight again. And then slowly build at the throttle so we have nice traction out of the corner. That's a lap around the Nurburgring GP track. Right, so there you have it. One last track guide for the season. I wish everyone good luck. I hope everyone finishes in the position in the championship they want to finish. It's a lot of fun to drive this track. If you want to watch more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and see you guys next season.